Howdy dudes, this is Random Fight Fan here. We got another build overview for you guys. This one here is by 4884, and in here he says that the build cost 6.5 divs until he got the gloves that at the time were 4 divs, and controlled metamorphosis was 4 divs and the gloves were 5, so now this is about 15.5 divs. It'd be a little bit cheaper to get it now because controlled metamorphosis and the gloves are even cheaper. But here, let's go over it. So far, he's got Unbound Avatar with the 3 mastery skills to make it last longer. You don't need Ingenuity, it doesn't have a cooldown, but Persistence is good to make it last longer. Ingenuity, you can just drop that. There's not really anything else to put in for the 6 slot for Avatar, but that 30% increased cooldown recovery is literally saving you like a tenth of a second. It doesn't matter. Tempest Flurry, you got Martial Tempo, Primal Armament, Rage, and Inspiration in there. You could get a 6th skill in there, obviously, but this is looking really, really, really good. Probably try to get Overcharge in there when you can. Overcharge might even be better than Primal Armament. You might even want to down level this. You got level 14 if you can get it even cheaper, so you don't need Inspiration. That would be nice, but that's kind of a luxury you can do when you get a little bit more power, so you might not be able to do that now since you don't even have the expensive Ingenuity belt, so you probably have it in the best that it can be right now. With Charge Staff, you got Electrocute, Neural Overload, Culling Strike, and Lightning Infusion. This is probably pretty fantastic as well. You could probably also think to get something like Unbreakable in there to give you more stun resistance, so that way you'd be a little bit tankier. Just checking in here. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so in your jewels you don't even have stun threshold, but you are evasion rating, so it might not be so bad. Never mind. I'll do this in the correct order and not talk before I know what's going on. Tempest Spell with Rage, Forge, Close Combat, Rising Tempest, and Font of Mana. Do you have? Well, I mean, you have Avatar to proc Rising Tempest, so that's probably super helpful. I think you'd be better off dropping Rage Forge right now because it's going to be a little bit for you to generate the rage. You might want to keep that for now. Rage Forge is really good if you have the rage generation and you do have 2 rage on melee hit. Actually, with the 2 rage on melee hit jewels, it'll be nice to be able to use Rage Forge without too much of a hit. But I think you'd be better off elsewhere, but we'll get to that in the future. And then same thing with Font of Mana. I think you'd be better off if you swap that off with more damage because it legitimately will save you mana by just not having to attack as much for as long. And so doing 40% more if you put Conk Effect in here would be an absolute godsend for you. So I think Conk Effect instead of Font of Mana and replace Rage Forge with, I mean, honestly, it's fine. It's fine because you have enough rage right now, but you might want to try and swap it up for something like Potential or something like Immolate if you got fire damage, which is pretty nice, but that's kind of the least impressive one. If you don't have the minions, so you can't use Minion Pact, and you don't have enough damage for Hourglass. So, do you have fire damage? You do have fire damage, so you could probably rock Immolate instead of Rage Forged. It's less damage than Rage Forged, but at least you'll keep your rage up, and that might be an overall damage boost for you. Shattering Palm for a nice little control or mobility skill with blind is nice because you are evasion. This is a really good idea. As soon as the ice shards spread, it also blinds everything. That could be really, really good for you. I like that. Same thing with Maim, slowing them down. Pin is not good though, and cold exposure does nothing for you. So instead of pin and cold exposure, you could probably look into. I'm honestly not too. I mean, mobility is the obvious one. Mobility do 40% more damage. I gotta type it in here. Mobility. Momentum, sorry. 40% more damage as long as it spreads 2 meters. I'm quite certain that applies to the crystals because if you dash to them, it gives you the 2 meters movement, and then the crystals should pop for a lot harder when they do go off. I think that is definitely the number one thing you need to do for Shattering Palm. And then that's one of the skills. For the other, I'm not too sure yet. Let's kind of just take a quick peek. I mean, I don't know if you have Ice Bite on here. You really should. Good. You have it on your Herald of Thunder, and you have Innervate on your Herald of Ice. That's the best thing to kind of put on Shattering Palm, which is the reason why I don't generally use it, but it's a really nice mobility skill. You might even be better off using something like Flicker over Shattering Palm, just for the sake of it can jump over gaps where Shattering Palm can't. And then also you can hold down Flicker if you're just using it for mobility. But for the most part, it's not too bad. I feel like maybe Glaciation for the more... No, you need that on your Herald of Thunder. This one is making me think. I'm not too sure. Uh, I have an idea. Okay, so I can't remember what it's called, but there is the one that gives crit chance on if they're immobilized. And so if it's doing the ice crystals, you should be able to get a bunch of freezes off, which should increase the damage as they pop. Because I'm pretty sure that's how that'll work. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think that will do some serious work for you. That and maybe even, as weird as it is, Elemental Focus might actually be kind of nice on this one specifically, because it's not like you're using Shattering Palm to get the freezes off. You're using that for Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder. However, if you do that, it's not going to proc the dual charge tech, but the thing is, the first enemy that you kill is going to be with your Tempest Flurry, and that will get the shocks off, that will get everything off. Shattering Palm actually doesn't do the initial impact. It's your hit afterwards, and then the icicles pop, and so you'll be able to get the shocks and everything off with your Tempest Flurry, which would proc Herald of Thunder, which would then proc Herald of Ice. So I think in this specific situation, Elemental Focus might actually be kind of nice for you on Shattering Palm. Now your Herald device has Magnified Effect, yes, Shock Siphon, Innervate, Conduction, Longshot. The only one, and I say this because I still haven't found a better thing, Conduction is fluid, but it's nice to have on there, especially at low damage levels. I think it's perfect for you right now, definitely keep it on. Herald of Thunder, Cold Infusion, lovely, Glaciation, lovely, Ambush, Ice Bite, and Cold Pen. You probably have enough crit chance that you don't need Cold Pen. You'd be better off doing +1 Lightning Skill because you have Long Shot here. I think +1 Lightning Skill would do more work for you. Or even putting Long Shot on Herald of Thunder than putting +1 Cold Skill on your Herald of Ice would be better. Either or, +1 either Lightning or Ice Skill here. I know it means you're taking something off your Unbound Avatar, but it's a decimal of a second, and it's going to actually do some work for one of these two. Grim Feast with Cannibalism. You're not CI, so that Cannibalism makes sense. And then Clarity, of course. Combat Frenzy with Perfusion and Precision. I highly doubt you need Precision. This is probably just a 10 Spirit cost that you don't need. And Blasphemy, Enfeeble, Conductivity. And you're not running Whispers of Doom. Okay, so a couple things here with Blasphemy. Obviously, you can drop Precision. That's 10 Spirit that you don't need to spend. Blasphemy here, it only will be using one single curse. You're only going to be getting Enfeeble or Conductivity, not both, because you can only have the ability to apply one curse. So right now, that's already not doing it for you. And this is 120 Spirit you're using here for this Blasphemy. And unfortunately, these curses are kind of weak as it is for a monk. I think you're going to be much, much better off using pretty much anything else, like Elemental Invocation or Wind Wave, especially since you're evasion based. Definitely Wind Wave. Most of your costs are pretty low for all of these. Even dropping Shattering Palm for another aura on top of it, you could get pretty much anything you want, honestly. There's a lot of good ones. You've already got Grim Feast. Putting Wind Wave on there would be awesome. Don't get, I think it's called Dance with Death, the one that gives you Energy Shield based on your evasion rating, because you're already overcapping it with Grim Feast, so it does not work with that. But something like any of the cast skills or Elemental Invocation, which is my personal favorite, would be kind of wonderful. If you are having troubles getting off the freeze pops, you could get Overwhelming Presence. There's a lot of things that you could be doing that are all better than Blasphemy. If you want just straight up damage reduction, that is where the Wind Dancer would definitely come in play. I think you got a lot better options than Blasphemy. This is not quite it for you. And also if you have Wind Dancer, Yeah, you do not have acrobatics, but if you had Wind Dancer, there's a chance you could go acrobatics because right now Protect Me from Harm is kind of weak. But you have a big enough evasion chest I saw, like 2,300 almost. It might be worth it for you to go that route. I actually really think it would be worth it for you to go that route. All right, so now for the equipment here. The staff, you should really get the 12% weapon damage per 5 strength. You're going for the damage one. This here is pretty solid. Hey, kitty. Come here, kitty. Oh, yes, buddy boy. This one is really solid, but the just getting the 12% weapon damage per 5 strength is going to be monstrous for you. It feels like more than 20% damage, that's for sure. It feels better than getting the 1 to 12 lightning damage per int by a lot. And I don't know why that is. It just does feel better. These gloves are pretty fantastic. They got great rolls on it. Obviously, you need to fill the gem slot, but that's no biggie. This ring is beautiful. It's got a nice dex roll on there, good res. All res would be better, obviously. It's kind of a low lightning res, but the flat fire, flat cold on there is going to be doing wonders. This is a fantastic ring. Honestly, great job finding this. And then you got attack mods on there to bring that fire and cold up a bit. It also gives you... Honestly, the cold is low and the fizz is basically useless. I think you'd be better off rolling fire on it to give you more fire resistance if you need it. Here, you got this actually really, really nice stellar amulet. This is fantastic. Honestly, great job on this. You'd be... I don't know what your energy shield is like, but considering that you're not CI, I assume you need the health. It's going to be kind of difficult because, yeah, you got a little bit of chaos res there. Hey, kitty. I know, buddy. I know. You got a little bit of chaos res, but since it's so low, you're probably getting really popped hard by rituals and the like. I hope you're not hurting too bad by all the chaos damage because without being CI, I think that's going to be hurting you right now. But yeah, your rings are solid, really, really solid. They'd be a little bit better with small attributes or a little bit higher stat rolls or all resistance. But honestly, these are great. These are really, really great. Big lightning, big fire. This is going to be adding a ton of damage to your build. I like it. These definitely aren't end game, but these are extremely strong mid game rings that you found, and I like these a lot. And same thing with the amulet. It'd be nicer if it had like a big percent evasion or percent energy shield, or preferably both. And then if it didn't have the life and like you could potentially work towards CI, I think that would help you out a lot. The helmet is a low base, which sucks, but it's got really nice resistances. When you do make the swap to CI, which I'm definitely recommending, it will give you a big boost of survivability. I'd say you got a low roll armor and energy shield on here, which is kind of really hurting your survivability like a lot. And then swapping the life and mana for, if you could get evasion energy shield or straight energy shield or armor energy shield with strength and int rolled onto it, it will help you out. But this tri-res is beautiful and it's going to tide you over for a while. And this chest piece is just gorgeous. I know the res is a little low and the attributes are a little low, but with 2300 evasion and the fact that I only spent 6.5 divines on this entire build before the gloves and this controlled metamorphosis, you did fantastic. This is a great budget build. Like, honestly, you definitely know what you're looking for gear. You did a fantastic job putting it all together. Even this belt is pretty nice. I would say look for exactly this, but with another res on there. And like obviously you got life and mana on there. Mana is the big one, but since you're not CI yet, life is good. On it, yeah. Even your boots are great. These boots are probably in line with like your rings and your chest, except for the fact that it has mana instead of more defensives. But still, these are really great. You did a fantastic job. Great budget build. Fantastic. None. Okay, you got 1, 2, 3. Okay, a few of your jewels are corrupted. You definitely need to try and corrupt them all. I know it's going to hurt. Like, this one here is fantastic. You got, right now, the recover life and kill is probably pretty nice. The crit chance and maximum energy shield is massively important. When you get higher energy shield, you're going to want that stun threshold one if you can, but right now it's not too important for you, and it's definitely less important for an evasion version. But what you really need is the corrupted attributes, 100%. I love the evasion, I love the crit chance. Even the energy shield recharge rate probably has a little bit of quality of life, and that life on kill is also good for the immediate. This one here isn't doing anything for you, though. This one's kind of terrible. You could drop this out. Like, the only thing it's really giving you is a little bit of area of effect. And then if you had meditate, it would help it charge a little faster. This one's kind of terrible. Same thing with this one. This is the rage on melee hit is helpful for like a little bit of convenience, but there's just not enough good mods on a red jewel. Unfortunately, that's why I don't run red jewels. They don't have enough. They don't have the crit chance. They don't have crit damage. They don't have stun threshold. They don't have movement speed. They don't have attack speed. They don't have energy shield. It's all the best things. They don't have magnitude of non-damaging ailments. That's another really good one. You should look for all of those on your replacement jewels. And yeah, this is another one that just isn't there for you. This jewel here is doing like literally nothing. Your first jewel was beautiful, but it's not corrupted with attributes, so that's unfortunate. These three are doing almost nothing. Rage on melee hit is the only thing I'm seeing. This one is got some nice energy shield and some mana regen. That's another good mod. Mana regen, it's kind of a nice quality of life. But these are... You could honestly get much better jewels for like 10 exalts. People just leave them in their stash and nobody looks at them for weeks at a time. So I think you can get much, much better jewels without worrying about it too much. And again, this one here, literally all you're getting from it is rage on melee hit, and you should really exalt slam this if you're wanting to keep it, just to try and maybe get elemental damage, or like maybe get increased maximum rage. Those are the only things that are really helpful. You got a decent metamorphosis here with -9 to all res. That's probably not hurting you too bad. Okay, there we go. Passives and large ring. I find mid-large is more useful for this build, but large definitely works and does the job. We'll see where you placed it. And I have no idea what your Megalomaniac has. It's blank. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. This build was posted a little while ago, so you probably got it at a great deal before they went up. They just very recently went up, so hopefully you got that at a great cost. Looking at your Atlas tree here. I don't like coming down for the magic monsters. It gives more experience in your maps, but unfortunately it doesn't give too much more. If you're able to maintain your precursors, actually you're not even doing this, it's more magic monsters. Like, I had this same setup when I was first going as well, and then I realized that the magic monsters just don't really drop anything. I think you'd be better off if you connected up here to your pack size, then you could cut all of these out, and then you could come down here and swing around, catch your Deadly Evolution, which you should definitely slot in Deadly Evolution if you can handle it. And I think you can. You got some pretty good gear. Come down there, then you just take off these 3 nodes entirely. I don't mind Twin Threats. It's only 1 more rare, but it's a guaranteed extra rare. When you start being able to do Delirium maps and Breach maps really consistently, then you won't even need this, because 1 more rare won't matter, versus getting something like the Quantity and just juicing your maps and getting an increased explosive effect of your Waystones. That will do more than 1 rare for the most part, but as it stands right now, this is a pretty early on build, and I think it's in a great spot. You should also try to get an enigmatic intensification. It's also pretty nice. It just helps when you're actually juicing your content, that it juices very well and very smoothly. Yeah, gear's great. Well, it has room to grow, but it's pretty great. Your jewels are really scuffed though, and you have a little bit of work to do with your skills, but it's not too bad. Now for your passive tree. So the first thing I'd say is Essence of the Mountain and Essence of the Storm just don't give that much. You'd expect it to give a lot more than it does. It's not quite it. Going and getting the crit chance, because you are doing a crit version of the build here, is going to give you a lot more, like a lot more. And then you could come up here for these crit damage nodes instead of this 10% attack damage. It will give you massively more than these 10% attack damage. So come up here this way. Probably you could still keep all of these nodes. They're quite nice, but you'd save 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, but then you would put 3 there. So you'd be saving 3 points doing that. Basically, I think you'd be saving these 4 if I'm not seeing it wrong. Whatever. You save 3 or 4 points that way for sure. You are the evasion version, so you're probably going to want to stay away from here right now until you can get the crazy tech to save skill points on the tree. It sucks because this insightfulness node is so nice, and these are big energy shield nodes, and this is a lot of crit chance and crit damage here. It sucks that you can't go there, but right now we're trying to make the most out of what you got, and unfortunately, you definitely need to save those points. Coming up here, this is great. You have such a big evasion chest. You definitely want to get Spectral Ward 100%. If you're able to hit the 50% crit threshold by just coming here and dropping these 3 nodes, it will save you 2 more passive points to use elsewhere, but I mean, crit damage and crit chance is still a nice thing to slot in. It's 100% a great thing to slot in. I don't mind this at all. But since you're coming here for resonance, it might be better to literally take these 3 off and put 1 here and get 2 more points to work with. Do you have, because like those 2 more points could come in here for these crit damage and come up for Throat Seeker if you have enough crit chance to work with it. Yeah, and like you got both crit hit chance nodes here. Like, you definitely want to be pathing towards Tainted Strike. It's incredible. But like getting both crit strike nodes is a little bit inefficient because the 1 point you put here could be spent going towards something else that's just more efficient for you. You do have the nice overflowing power tech. I like that quite a bit. But you do also have Sunder My Enemies. So because you have Sunder My Enemies and you are getting Careful Assassin, and you have a lot of crit chance everywhere, I don't think you need Heavy Frost, and Thin Ice really isn't doing much for you. Like, that's 3 more points you could be saving for sure. I think we're up to like 10 points saved. And these critical hits ignore non-negative elemental resistances on frozen enemies would be great if you're doing more cold damage, but just focus on the crits so that you get it that way. It will do a massive amount for you. And so with those 10 points, you could probably spend 1, 2, 3, 4 to get up to enhanced reflexes. And you could get the increased evasion here with escape velocity. You could, let's see here, what else do we got for you? You could come up here for subterfuge mass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's all 10 points. And then you'd get a big extra bit of evasion rating if you got a pure energy shield helmet to replace this one, because unfortunately this is the piece that's doing the least for you. And if you're able to get all that together, you would obviously get Chaos Inoculation. I feel like Chaos Inoculation is absolutely essential for this kind of build. Life just doesn't stack very well. Life is not it. Energy Shield is massively more powerful. It all kind of depends on if you can get the boots and the helmet to support your chest piece for sure. And yeah, for you for sure, I think it'd be worth it to get like Subterfuge Mask and to path into here to get enhanced reflexes, 100% for enhanced reflexes. And then you'd get like 16 dex and then a little bit more evasion rating. And if you can get high enough evasion rating, especially with like escape velocity and bestial skin with that big chest, it might be worth it to get acrobatics. That's 100% where I think it should be going for you. It's very powerful, very good stuff. Honestly, even potentially, instead of taking these 3 points, you could come up here for more evasion rating, hit it here. So these 3 would go here. Then you'd spend 1, 2, 3, 4 to get this node here like this. It still might be nice to keep the controlled metamorphosis here to get bestial skin and falcon technique. But if you can, I don't know, you got a few levels to go, but like you could technically path 4 more skill points to it if you wanted to. It's a little pricey for skill points, but then you could potentially get a small ring, put it right here, and then you could get spaghettification, and I think you get true strike with it. So then you just need to put these 3 points in. You could save, like, you'd save literally 3 points. You just put it there. But spaghettification is so big for it. And a small node controlled metamorphosis is dirt cheap. Potentially, you could also move this large one over to here, and then you could get something like one with the river. Your attributes are pretty low right now, so you're at a point where getting Coming Calamity wouldn't hurt you too bad. And then your ring would hit enhanced reflexes, which is quite very nice. And then I think the large ring also hits serrated edges, if I remember right. Yeah, I think it also hits serrated edges. So putting your large ring right here might be better for you with your evasion version of the build. I really think this would be a better slot for you because you're currently not even using escape velocity. You might need to forget about Falcon Technique until you get more decks, because this is the lowest scaling attack speed one for right now, and this is a low investment build. Yeah, just straight up move this over to here, get the extra defensives, this crit chance, enhance reflexes, and Coming Calamity, and then path through here to get these nodes for sure. That will do a lot of work for you, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I think that was a lot to go over on this one. There's quite a few changes, but overall, you did a great job for a 6.5 div build. Like, you did a really good job. There's a couple of things to change around in the skills for sure. The gear definitely could use improvement, but for 6.5 div plus, the 9, I think you said, for this jewel and the gloves, this is, yeah, you're going to be doing really good work. Nice job. Alrighty, thank you again for submitting your build, and you have a great day. See you, my dudes.